Hey everyone, and welcome back. So, you already know the basics of cloud deployment models, right? We're not going to rehash that. In this explainer, we're going past the simple definitions to really unpack the critical trade-offs, the tough questions you have to face when you're choosing the right model for the job. Let's get into it. So here's our game plan. We're going to kick things off by looking at the public cloud, but not the shiny marketing version. We're talking about the hidden risks. Then we'll get into the two very different flavors of private clouds. After that, we'll tackle the unique challenges of community clouds, dive headfirst into the hybrid dilemma, and then wrap it all up by figuring out how you make the right strategic choice. Okay, public cloud, we all get it. It's open, it's scalable, it's easy to get started. But that wide open access comes with some serious complexities and risks baked right in. And that's what we're going to focus on now, the side of the coin that doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
I mean, the appeal is so obvious, isn't it? It feels like you have infinite resources at your fingertips, and you don't have to shell out a ton of money to get started. We know this part. But it's this very promise that sets the stage for the major trade-offs that come next.
And this brings us right to the heart of the matter, multi-tenancy risk. You know you're sharing hardware. That's old news. But here's the critical point we're digging into now. You have no earthly idea who your neighbors are. Think about that. Your most sensitive workload could be running on the exact same physical server as a direct competitor, or worse, a bad actor who's actively looking for a way in. This idea of co-residency creates a whole class of security and reliability risks you just don't find anywhere else.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the private cloud. Now, the key insight here, the thing that might be new, is that private does not always mean on-site. It doesn't mean it's in your building. A private cloud can absolutely live somewhere else, and once you get that, you'll see there are two completely different ways to approach it.
So you basically have a fork in the road. You can go on-site, which gives you absolute maximum control. It's all inside your own security walls. But you carry the whole burden. You need that specialized in-house IT team to build it, run it, and fix it when it breaks. The other path is to outsource it. Let a hosting company manage the hardware for you. And here's the crucial difference. Suddenly, your security isn't just about your perimeter anymore. It depends on two perimeters, yours and your provider's. And this cable just lays it all out, crystal clear. Just look at that resource limit line. If you build it yourself, on-site, you are stuck with a fixed capacity. You have to play fortune teller, guess your needs, and buy all that hardware upfront. But if you outsource, boom, you get access to way more extensive resources whenever you need them. It's that classic tug of war, right? The total control of an on-site cloud versus the flexibility and, frankly, lower operational headache of an outsourced one. Okay, next up, the community cloud. Now, this one's built for groups that have shared interests, like a bunch of research universities sharing data or government agencies working together. But here's the catch. That very collaboration, the whole point of it, introduces some really unique and honestly pretty thorny management challenges. And this is where the complexity just explodes. You got all these different independent organizations trying to use the same playground. How do you possibly control who gets to see what? You can't just use a simple password. This demands really sophisticated policies, things like role-based access control, just to stop one member from accidentally seeing another member's sensitive data. Honestly, just managing the politics and policies between all these different groups is a massive operational hurdle in itself. All right, so now let's see how this all comes together with the hybrid cloud. And I want you to think about this one a little differently. It's less of another model on the list and more like a composition of all the others. And because of that, it basically takes every single trade-off we've just talked about and cranks the volume up to 11. So here's the textbook definition. But listen, the single most important word on this entire slide is portability. That is the secret sauce. What makes a hybrid cloud actually hybrid is the tech that lets you move an application or your data smoothly between, say, your secure private cloud and a scalable public one. If you don't have that portability, you don't have a hybrid cloud. You just have two separate clouds that aren't talking to each other. A hybrid cloud isn't something you just build once and then walk away from. No way. It is constantly evolving. It's a living, breathing thing. A public cloud provider you've been using for years might suddenly change their entire pricing model, or you might need to plug in a new community cloud for a specific project. This dynamic nature, where clouds are constantly joining and leaving the mix, makes managing this environment an incredibly complex, ongoing challenge. So, after exploring all this complexity, how on earth do you actually choose? Well, here's the big takeaway from all this. Choosing your cloud model is not just an IT decision made in the server room. It is a fundamental, strategic business decision that's going to affect your entire organization from the top down. So yeah, this is the ultimate question, isn't it? Which model, or more likely, which mix of models, is the right call for you? And the answer, of course, is it depends. It depends completely on your organization's specific needs, how sensitive your data is, and who your customers are. You've got to weigh all these things, of course. You're going to think about security, compliance, and budget. But here's a big one that a lot of people overlook: your client base. If you're serving clients in, say, the defense industry or the financial sector, they might not give you a choice. They might flat out require you to use a private cloud for their data. A lot of the time, your customers' demands are going to dictate your cloud strategy for you.
And that brings us to one last, kind of provocative thought to leave you with. Maybe the answer isn't to choose just one model. Maybe the smartest strategy of all is to categorize your data and your applications and then decide, piece by piece, which ones belong in a public cloud for scale, which ones need the Fort Knox security of a private cloud, and which ones fit a community model. It's something to think about as you start designing your own cloud architecture. Thanks for joining me.